Believe me, I know the politics within my party at this particular moment in time. I have many faults. Misunderstanding politics is not one of them. So as I've been thinking about when I would deliver some news to the Senate, I always imagined a moment when I had total clarity and peace about the sunset of my work. A moment when I'm certain I have helped preserve the ideals I so strongly believed. That day arrived today.
Okay, let's set aside the whole speech he just tried to give there. They all do the same thing. These bloodsuckers going to Washington, D.C. for 20, 30 years. You can't get them out of office with a crowbar until they're half dead or glitching out on camera the way Mitch McConnell has several times. And finally, once they've lost control of the last tiny little thread of power they were clinging to, they step up to the podium and announce that they're riding off into the sunset, doing their duty for America after fighting for the country for far too long. I'll get bent. Mitch McConnell just got done. He just got done like 5 minutes ago trying to guarantee amnesty into law. I'm not going to let this go. Sorry, as long as we're doing the swan song legacy thing of Mitch McConnell, I want to make sure everyone remembers the deal spearheaded by Mitch McConnell, we now know, that the Senate GOP tried to get through behind closed doors. It was a massive handout to every foreign country on earth, Ukraine and Israel and Taiwan. And of course, the trade-off was going to be they were going to secure the border. And then we dug into it and we found out that the border deal guaranteed amnesty for millions of people. In fact, it guaranteed millions more could flood into the country, and that's the Mitch McConnell deal. Mitch McConnell's legacy may be a mixed bag overall, but what Mitch McConnell has done, especially over the last few years, is give aid and comfort to the enemy repeatedly, cobbling together a minority of loser Republicans to join with Democrats to pass damaging bill after damaging bill after damaging bill. Do I need to remind you, right after the House GOP took control during the midterms, admittedly a small majority, but they took control after the midterms, Mitch McConnell quickly worked with Democrats to pass a massive $1 trillion plus bill. Why? Because he was worried the GOP might actually demand some spending cuts. So before the new GOP House could be sworn in, he immediately worked with Democrats to get more Democrat priorities through. So no, Mitch, you don't get to do that thing today. Well, after years of faithful service, I'll get bent. Goodbye, good riddance. Now, back to me not being cynical. Let's have a talk. Because there's the story, and then there's the story behind the story. Mitch McConnell has been in Senate leadership for a long time, whether he's the majority leader or minority leader. And let's chat about that. Those positions are extremely powerful positions. They're more powerful than the average American realizes until you start studying it and talking to people in Congress and learning about the guts of Congress. You think that this senator and this senator in leadership, that they're kind of equal, right? I mean, sure, the guy in leadership has a little more power, but they're kind of equal. And no, that's not the case. When it comes to what bills will even be voted on, when it comes to the power of all the endless lobbying cash and PAC money, the difference in power between Senate leadership and the others is down here. It's a wide gap, all right? So how does one get into leadership? How does one achieve the status of a Mitch McConnell type who's carried a big stick in Washington, D.C. for a very long time? Well, it's really not complicated. If you want to get in Senate leadership, you will prove, A, to all the sucking demons in Washington, D.C., the soul-sucking monsters there, you have to prove to them that you're a team player after all. Hey, we can't have a shutdown, guys. You see all those people now? You have to prove to them, of course, that you're going to go along to get along. We don't want to change things, right? Hey, you're not one of those guys who wants to change things. You have to prove to them you don't want to change things. And B, you have to be a fundraising juggernaut. And so that leads me to being Mr. Cynical here. I'm happy Mitch McConnell's leaving. You're happy Mitch McConnell's leaving. Have your moment. Cheer, yell, woohoo, life is good. Okay, I'm happy, you're happy, everyone's happy, we're all happy. The list of potential replacements is really bad. It is. Yes, there is a chance a more conservative upstart like Rick Scott can mount some sort of a revolution within the Senate GOP and maybe take over. That's probably about the best we could hope for. But the truth is, there have been a couple guys who've been gunning for this leadership spot for a long time, sucking up to Mitch McConnell, proving to the DC swamp that they're team players, of course, that they'll play ball. And those two names are John Cornyn, he's much less likely, and John Thune. John Thune. John Thune from the blood red state. John Thune, who should have been primaried forever ago. But of course he's handsome and speaks very well on TV. So the moron GOP primary voter goes out and votes for him every time. John Thune's probably going to be our next Senate minority or majority leader. John Thune, who can't even defend your gun rights without talking about prairie dogs.
In my state, they use them to shoot prairie dogs and, other types of varmints. And so I think that there are legitimate reasons why people would want to have them. And I think the challenge you have already is that there are literally millions of them available in this country.
I think there are legitimate reasons. Who asked you? It's not about what you think. I have rights, and they're not subject to anything you think. Not Democrats, not Republicans, nobody. My rights come from God. Those rights include being able to defend myself. But again, another one of these DC swamp rats who always thinks your rights are up for debate, of course, and can never just go out there and boldly defend you when your rights, has to make it about prairie dogs. Yet another low-T GOP loser going to take over the GOP Senate. So pardon me if I'm not excited. And look, this is how it happens, because the good guys don't want to be in leadership. They don't want to become part of the DC swamp. They don't want to do the kind of fundraising it takes to fund the party, to buy the favors you need to get into leadership. I mean, look, you're not going to get a Josh Hawley in there. Senator, are you going to be in leadership soon? I totally agree. Our leadership really, really sucks in the Senate. The House is a little bit better, but are we going to see a move to kind of replace some of this old guard that's let us down time and time again?
Well, it's not going to be me.
Not going to be me. Okay. So it is what it is. Look, we asked Senator Ron Johnson, another one of the good ones. You're going to be in there. No, it's not going to be me. So the good guys don't want to run. They don't want to go through it. It is what it is. So welcome to Minority Leader John Thune. It is what it is.